we focused on St. Joseph's lack of words, but speaking volumes through his actions. The second week of Advent, I'd like to focus on another attribute of St. Joseph, and that's his courage. His courage to face some really big obstacles that God threw in his way, without asking a lot of questions, but to simply have the trust and the faith to courageously charge ahead into what God was asking of him. Sometimes we make St. Joseph into the nice plaster statue in the corner, and we idealize him. Let's take a moment to reflect on what Joseph was asked to do. He was asked to take a wife into his home who was about to have a child he knew wasn't his. He was asked to take on the social stigma of raising a child and a woman who was his wife, who had a baby that the community surely knew wasn't his. And he was also asked to pick up in the middle of the night to go off into a strange country of Egypt where he didn't speak the language, he didn't know anyone, he couldn't support his family, all to protect this baby child that had just been born into the world. That's a lot to ask of anyone. St. Joseph, I'm sure, had to swallow his pride. He had to put all the doubts, all the fears, all the anxieties out of his head, and to trust in this seemingly impossible plan that God was putting before him. St. Joseph had to become a refugee, not only for himself, but with his young wife and his newborn son. That's a lot for any of us. But yet, as the scriptures tell us, one of my favorite lines is St. Joseph woke up and did what the angel had told him to. That's great faith. That's great courage. That's great determination. And sometimes we may see that and think, I don't have any of that. I can barely do the little things God asks me to do, let alone the big things. But Advent is a time of reawakening that courage and that faith that is within us as well. That faith to do the seemingly impossible, to put our trust in God in a bad diagnosis from the doctor, to put our trust in God when a job is about to be lost, to put our trust in God when a relationship, a marriage, falls apart, or a child begins to become addicted, to put our trust in God when everything seems to be going wrong and God seems to be asking us to do the seemingly impossible. Not easy things to do, but St. Joseph is a powerful example of what can happen when we do trust in God more than in ourselves. St. Joseph did what the angel commanded. He took Mary as his wife, he raised Jesus as his son, he fled to Egypt to protect the life of Christ. And God was with him. He guided him, he showed him the way, and he got him through it. That's what happens when we have that superabundance of faith, when we trust in God more than ourselves, and we are people of courage with our faith in the Lord. During the second week of Advent, that'd be a good attribute for all of us to work on. Do I have that courage to live as a person of faith, as the Lord calls me to? That courage to stand up for what's right, even when people are going to talk about me. That courage to not just be like everyone else, but to actually reflect my faith in Christ. And that courage sometimes to carry the cross and to follow after Jesus. Having courage and being people of faith is not easy, but it's not impossible. St. Joseph shows us that. And when we allow God to bring that faith and that courage to birth in us, then just like St. Joseph, God can do some pretty powerful things through you and I as well. As we continue our journey of Advent, something for all of us to think about.
As the darkness clears.